Okay, welcome you once again for another episode. I told you guys yesterday we did a little theoretical aspect of AAA, authentication, authorization, and auditing. And I gave you a sketch. And I said try your best to sketch it so that at least tomorrow, which is today, you can configure that particular word, sketch. So we did that. But I want us to configure the AAA first, okay? Then after that, because I know definitely you have already configured everything based on the OSPF, an assignment I gave it to you yesterday. So we are about to configure the AAA and how to set a radius also on the server. So we'll be using one router and one server for an example before we're back on the journey to our work on notes I told you guys to do yesterday, okay? So that at least you will know the essence and the benefit of what the AAA that we are talking about. It's very simple. In the when you check about the radius, okay, for me not to waste time, let us go straight to the configuration because I've already talked about it yesterday. I explained and I have the video there, but I'll put it across for you to understand what it means. The A authentication, I explained. Another A authorization, I did explain. Then another A, which is auditing or accounting, I also explained. But now today we are coming to configure all those ones about the three A's so that you will know. Is that not it? Because we will not be there for an intruder to enter into our corporate network without you, the network, the Cisco network administrator, or consent. So please, we are about to configure the AAA and the radius. So just give me a new document area, not the one I gave it to you. We'll come on that, okay? You have to give me a new document area like what mine is showing. Give me a new document. Then let's choose a server. Let's choose a server. This is a server. Then we will choose a router. Okay, we'll be using 1491. 1491. Then you put a switch in between them like this. Then we put another PC here. So we'll just do the connection. The connection has to go to connection 1, connection 2, 1490, 1941. Sorry. It's 1941 rather. You make it AAA server. So this one is going, the IP address we will configure is 192.168.10.200 on this one. Then we'll be doing 192.168.10.201. Then this one will take 192.168.10.150. Okay. So this one is BFR1. I think online somebody asked me what BF means. You know, in the short term of BF is big firm. big firm. One of the subscribers and also the viewers, some of the one asked me, you want to know the meaning of the BF? And I said, oh, the BF means big firm, but I've shortened it and making what? BF. Okay. So this one will be Teresa's PC. So we have this one is our Radius server. Also, we have our Radius server. Okay, so let's continue. Are we all there? I hope we've configured it. Let's set things up. And add a laptop to it for the console. Have you finished? Okay, so now the first thing that you have to do is that if you have a server, you have to install the AAA, okay? That is authentication, authorization, and what? Accounting or auditing on it. But this is our Radius server. And I said the Radius stand for Remote Access Dial-In User what? Services. Before you can log in into a particular services, you must have it in your mind that you are part of those services. If you are not part of those services, you can't have chance to log in and do whatever that you can do. You have a service with the bank, and that is why you have the bank card. So authentication, authorization for you to enter your password. Then the only thing that you have to do, after you have finished everything, yes, still the bank is monitoring and what? Will by how many what audit you? How many times within the month you have withdrawn? If you go for a statement, They will tell you everything, which means that they are monitoring you and they are auditing you as well. So I want us to just go and configure the server. Okay, so let's click on the server. Click on the server. All of us are doing it. After this one, then we'll go back to our configuration of what we did yesterday. Desktop, then let's give the IP address on the server. It's 192.168.10.201. 192.168.10. Let's check this. It's what? 200. Then the DNS 192.168.10.201. Same thing. Are you there? Yes. The DNS IP is 201. You are using the same what? The server static IP address. Shall we go on now? Okay, let's go. Let's go to the client machine. Client machine on is what? 100. So 192.168.10. Is that it's 150, eh? Okay, okay, sorry, it's 150. So we have the server 192.168 as a DNS, then we have the default gateway as 10.200, then the subnet mask which is last 24, then we have .150 which is the host ID. Okay, now remain the router that you have to deal with the router. Okay, so let's go to the router and deal with the router. Let's go. Click on the laptop, go to desktop terminal, then click OK. Choose no. I told you guys that you have to choose no because if you don't know the router configuration, you have to start from what? Beginning. But if you are perfect now, then you know everything, you start with yes. It will keep on asking you a lot of questions and you can't bypass, you have to answer them. So the config T, the host name have to be BFR1. Then the line console, don't forget to line console 0. Password, the login. Then exec time so that at least whilst we are doing something without focusing our mind on the router, it will not log off by itself. Now we are putting the executable timeout as 00. So after you have finished, just type exit, then you type enable password, then secret. enable secret. When you type the question mark, you can see that we have level specifies an encrypted secret. Then we have specified an encrypted password will follow. So we are going to just type the secret one. This one, this one is the clear text on enable secret that you can. So let's put Are you done? Are you done? Okay, so now we are going to give a username. So user name. Then bring the question tag. You can see that it said word. So the username, you know the word of the username that you have to give. We are going to give what? BF admin what? 1. Okay, so BF admin 1 space. Then the question tag again. Then you choose what? Secret. Then with the question tag again, you have to type your password, which is P at dollar dollar or P at SSW0RD, then you enter. Because where we have reached, at least everything that you have to do have to be in a secret word form. Don't just type any password. Then you type what? Username BF admin. Then you type the password. Then that's all. No, we want the secret so that at least we can get the MD5 authentication. After we have finished, now let's focus our mind on the port that we are going to configure it based on our IP address. Are you done? Are you done? Class, are you done? Okay, so let's go. We are going to configure, I'm going to configure the GIJ 0/0. Do that. INTGIJ 0/0. So IP address 192.168.10.200 255.255.255.0. No shutdown. So now we have forwarding and we have listening. Let's come out from the port. Let's come out from the port. Let's go back to, I hope you finish. Have you finished? Okay, so type exit, then WR for write, then copy running config, then startup running config. Startup config. Now we have to save the configuration that we are doing. Whenever light goes off or something happens, the router can retrieve everything as a recovery for us. So let's try this one also. Jeff, are you okay? Jeff, are you okay? Okay. Uba, online? Aziz, online? There is online? Kevin, online? Okay. So now let's go straight to the server. Double click on the server, then click on services, then click on AAA. Now AAA is off. The AAA is off. So just click on the AAA. Look at the port number. The port number is what? 1640 what? 5. Let's see whether truly is 1645 for radios, because that is the radios port number. So we are going to, I told you that we are dealing with the radios. It's a remoting access. Are you following it? If you are, when we are dealing with remoting, On the second level, I taught you guys about VPN and also VNC. Mhm. I said VPN and VNC. You don't know how to configure VNC. VNC, virtual network connection. That is why Aziz is worrying me that at least I have to teach them the practical, physical practical. The other group I taught them, we did that, yes, but up to now I'm waiting for your presentation, your project work. You haven't done your project. Yeah, finish it, then I will do justice to it. Yes. What I'm teaching you, eh? No, I was thinking that maybe you have been taught. Let's go and check whether we have radio spots, which is what 1645. You know where to go to check it. You know where to go to check it. Okay, I'll come round to come and check. So I will show you. Go there. Go and check the port 1645. For the sake of those that they are online, I know that they know, so I will go there myself. I will go there. You press on Windows E, then you go to this PC, double click on blah, 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 then you follow. But they can see. I don't want to talk, so they are seeing what I'm doing. They will see it. Make sure that you open it with what? Notepad. I'm coming around to come and check. Look for port 1645. Have you seen it? If you can't see port 1645, we will change it and use ports 8012 to 18. That is 1812 to 1813. So check whether 1812 and 1813 are radios. Have you seen it? 1812 and 1813. You know, before INA, where you know the INA? Where you know INA? You don't know INA? INA. IANA. INA. Which organization has been given ISP allocated IP address? INA. You don't know INA? You know? Tell me something small about INA. They do what? They sell IP address to what? And what is the full name of INA? I gave it to you guys. You said what? Internet what? Internet assign numbers what? Internet assign numbers what? Internet. Ah. Tell me the full name of INA. Thank you. I hope you understand. Internet assign numbers what? Authority. This is what we call them, the INA. They are organization, non-profit makers. They make sure that they calculate the IP address before ISP will go and get those IP address, and they will come and give it to you and I. That is, internet service providers, they will go for those what? Are you following it? They calculate things. So INA was the one that was calculating those, and they came across that, okay, the remote access dial-in user services was using 1645, but later on changed it to what? 1812 to 1813. So you can see. You see that the radius is what? 1812. And they said authentication protocol. Are you following it? Authentication protocol. But when radius came, and VPN also landed. Are you following it? So radius came after radius, VPN. And VPN is ahead of what? Radius. Radius was those times when we were using dial-in. Where dial-in? You use your telephone to connect to the internet. So we have what we've been calling it dialer. Are you following it? So they gave these particular protocols some port. Shall we go on now? Yeah. Okay, so now we are going to change this one to what? To what? Thank you very much. So either you have to change it to 1812 or 18 what? 13. So let's make it 1813. Then the client name. Look at the client name. We are going to use the client name as what? Teresa's PC. Okay, that's what you have to put here. Teresa's PC. So put it here, Teresa's PC. Then the IP address of the client machine. 192.168.10.150. Like this. I can't zoom it. You have to be small. There is a come forward. Don't want to come forward. Always want back. Because now after you give in now we have a secret. The secret you are going to type is the password. Okay? The secret you are going to type here is the password. The password of we'll be configuring the user. I told you we are going to do. What is the username? The username is what? You said BF admin. So what will be the secret IP address? Type. Then let's come here. The username is what? BF admin 1. And a password, put a password there. Then you click on add. So the top one, to what you have to do is that you have to also click on add. So the network configuration and the setup configuration, we are good now. So we are setting this one on the server. You said? It will reach a point that I will show you something. I will show you a particular configuration. If you go to the field, that is what you experience over there. Is there? Yeah. They'll bring it. They'll bring it. The router and the switch, so that we do practical. The server, you will create a server. Server, I'm not going to teach you server. I've already taught you server. Shall we go on? Let's go on. Okay, so we are done with the network configuration and also the user setup. Let's go straight to the router. Now, since we have already finished with the radius server, which is AAA also server, now it's time for us to make sure that the router must accept the configuration inside what? The server. Are you following it? Yes. So let's go to config. Teresa, are you okay? I heard you calling. Are you facing some problem there? Yeah, okay. Okay. Let's go on. So now we are about to configure. Now press Shift and the question tag. Let's press the Shift and the question tag. Look at the first thing. They said AAA. And they said authentication, authorization, and accounting. So that user, which is BF admin, we want to see whether BF admin, whenever BF admin logs inside the router, the server have to be responsible. Whether you are part, Are you following it? If you log into the ATM machine, their server know that you've logged in. If you withdraw money, their server know that you withdraw. So when you go in for bank statement, they will tell you all the ATM machines that you have visited. They ask yourself, how come? Yes, you are being auditing. At the same time, you yourself, you authenticate with the bank authorization so that you can have access to their services that they are doing over there. Are you following it? You said? What Aqua? The app. The card or the card. You said it. Oh, I don't get you, Aziz. Oh, it's very simple. It's very simple. That's a personal identification what? Yesterday, I was teaching somebody online, then I told him that we have the personal card industry. Fraudsters can also have access on those particular cards. Okay? Because we are online, I'm online, there are certain things I'm not supposed to expose it out. But let me just say one of them. Thank you very much. You have the AA over here, so we are going to make sure that the router also accepts what AA. So press the space bar. Then we'll configure. So you type AA, then you press the tab key. Then you bring the question tag. You see we have new -model. You have to choose new -model to enable AA because the router AA has not been what? Enabled. Like how we have on the server you have to install. You know, when you enter there, you just click on on. It was off, and you click on, which is enable. So the router also, they have to choose what? New hyphen what? Model. So you choose new hyphen model, then you enter. Which means that now you have authenticate what? You have authenticate. Okay, so let's check, bring the question tag again, and let's check whether we can find radius. Do we have radius here? We have radius here, you see? Yeah. Radius server configuration command. We have already configured everything on our radius server. Okay, so now we have to configure radius also here. Later on, we will configure the AAA. Are you getting it? What I'm teaching you, are you following? Are you following it? That is this. That is it. Check it well. Radius. I'm on the configuration mode. Okay, so since we can see the radius, like what some of you are saying, sometimes we come across radius hyphen what? Server is the same as what we are about to do. Because radius stands for remote access dial-in user what? Services. Okay, so the user that you're about to dial in, you must ask yourself whether you have been what? Authenticate, whether they have given you authority to do so. And we have a user like that, which is called BF admin what? 1. Okay. So press the space bar, then let's type the radius. Let's type the radius. Then bring the question tag. You will see server. So it goes along with what the radius what? Server. So type the server. And you bring the question tag again. They say, well, name for the radius server. And what is our radius server? So just type the server, then host and key. So if host and key, choose the host. So there are others that at least when you just configure it, you can see that yours is not radius, but you can see the radius hyphen what? Server. So what you have to do is that you have to type radius hyphen server, then you choose the host, then you type the host IP address of the server, which is your server's what? IP address. But if yours is radius, then you have to put a radius space server, then the server name. So when you check mine, you can see that I have a server name, which is AAA, which is here. If I click on this one, and I come to config, you see a server name, isn't it? I can change it. I can change it like this. I can change it and I'll make it radius hyphen server. Have you seen? So it has changed here. So if I'm entering, I want to configure it, what I will do is that I will type what? Radius hyphen what? Server there. Okay? So radius hyphen server. Then bring the, so you just follow mine. Then when you bring the question tag, it said what? The carrier what? Just follow. Okay? So you can see that it's very clear over here. Yours is different. So I will enter. Then it comes like this. See whether yours is like this. It said what? Key. So we will create the key. That is the port key. Okay? You create a port key. Um, let's go to the server and check the key. Go to the server. Go to the server. There's AAA. The key is what? Thank you. So you see, the key is the password. That is it. So mine, what I will do is that if I bring the question tag like this, I will see the key here rather. Are you following it? But you guys who are doing yours straight away. Do you understand? Yeah. So for me, I will type the key. I'll type the key, then bring the question tag. Then it said line encrypted, which is the password. So I'll say P at SSW0RD. That is the key we know on our. So you just what? Enter. It's a warning. Command has been added to the configuration using type 0 password. However, type 0 password will soon be deprecated. Migrate to the supported password. So the set of it is there, the time, then the AAAA over there. Then with this one that you are seeing, which is the 4 A's, it doesn't mean it's accounting, authorization, and auditing or something. It's talking about IPv6, okay? Yes, now deprecated warning, command has been added to the configuration using a type 0 password. However, type 0 password will soon be deprecated. Migrate to supported password. So now our password has been added to what? The server. Yeah. Because of what mine is showing, that is why it's two things we are doing. So if yours is showing this way, then I'll use different configuration to do it. Okay? Are you following it? Yes. But we have to try our best and see whether maybe I don't know the router, but it's the same router we choose, or in the same configuration we are doing. So it's supposed to, but what is buffering me is that I'm using the four of you, yours are the same. Okay, we started with the rest of it, and we are now on configure radios server, and we did that by entering the key. So when we enter the key is the password of the radios server, and we did that. And you can see that first we enter inside radio server, and we did this, and I said the carrier, then we enter, then we set the key, and we type the key as well. Now we are coming to configure the radio's IP address so that together with the ports then can work. Sometimes when you check yours and you find out that the version of the packet tracer you are using is not, you can either check here, because when my students were complaining that they don't have the radios, theirs is rather radios -7. And when I check, I found out that the version they are using is far from mine. Mine is higher than theirs. So you click on this one, then you say about, then you will see that check the version. If yours is 0, that is 8.0, then you will see radios -7. But if it's 0, that is 8.2, you must see only radios. Or you can even download 8.2.2 and it will work perfectly for you. Okay? So when you check this one, we are now inside the radio server. So it's time for us to assign an IP address to our router for the server. So the link between the radio server and the router have to be what? Authenticate for the user to be authorized. So now we are going to type, you have to type address, then IP. You know, when you check address and you just type address, then the question tag, you will see we have IPv4 there. So IPv4, then you bring the question tag again. They say the host's name or A.B.C.D tells you about the radio server's IP address. And our radio server IP address is 192.168.10.201. So that is what we have to type. So 192.168.10.201. Then after we finish, press the shift and the question tag again. You will see off port. We are talking about the radio port. And if you can remember, we went to our notepad and the off port is 1812. 1812. But on the server also, it was 1648 and we changed it to 1812. And I told you guys that 1648 was the old one that the INA assigned. And later on, many radio service clients still use this port. But now, the authentication accounting port is 1812 or 1813. So we have to type AUT, which is authentication port for the radios. Authentication port for the radios. Bring the question tag again. Bring the question tag again. Shift and the question tag. You will see that we have 102.65535. This is the total port number that we have inside the system. But when you go to this one for you to check, you will see that that is not the total one. That is for the operating system owner. Microsoft own is what? 47624. That is for Microsoft total. But the whole world, the port number is 65,535 port numbers. That is the whole port numbers we have. But we've been using few port numbers. Port 80, port 53, port 21, port 25, port 65, port 67, port 443, port... You know, these are all ports, but you know, there are some ports that they are secret port. We don't use them, but we use them internally. The system uses it. So we have to just type the port, and the port that we have to type, let us make sure that we type the same port that we gave it to the server, and you can see that we have what, 18 what, 13. So you must also type the same what, port, okay? Type the same port, which is 18, 13. Then space and the question tag again. We have the carrier. You just enter. You are good to go. You are good to go. So we are done with the ports. We are done with address of the IP address that we just gave it to the server, and we also give it to the port address, which is 1831, 1813, or 1814 that you can give out. So you can either choose the 1813 or 1812. Everything will go together. Now we have configured the router to use our radio server for authentication. Now we have to check and see the authentication of the AAA. Okay, we have to check. So type exit. After you type exit, type AAA authentication. Authentication. Then bring the question tag. You see that we have enable login. So set authentication list for enable. Login, set authentication list for logins. Then PPP, set authentication list for point-to-point protocol. So we have a lot over there that we can just set it up. But in a normal circumstance, we have what we call AAA for Arab, banner, .1x. We have enable, authentication, fill messages, login, password prompt, then surprise. We have a whole lot that you can think of. Then whenever it comes to, so if you said AAA authentication enable, then you have to click on what? Enable, then bring the question tag. Then you said default. You bring the question tag again. Then you said group. Use server group. Or use enable password for authentication. Use enable password for authentication. You can choose either use enable password for authentication. That one is good because if you said use enable password for authentication, then it means that you are going to exactly use the password for AAA so that you can stand on it to log in into your corporate network successfully. So we are going to use group. We'll be using group. Then when you use group, you bring the question tag, you can see we have radius. So you type what? Radius. Okay, you type radius. Then the last thing that you have to do is that bring the question tag, you will see local. So you choose what? Local. Why are you choosing local? It said use local user authentication. That is the username that you just create. And the username is for BFadmin1. If you say group, then say use server group name. We have a lot of servers group name. A group name that you can create a lot of users and add them as a group. That can stand for one. Then local case, use case sensitive local username what? Authentication. That one based on the keys. You can either use a phrase of, or if you choose none, then no authentication at all. But it's good, we have to use enable password for authentication. Yes, you can use local, but I prefer you guys using local. Use local user authentication so that we must know, is that the user we create? Is that the one that we are using to log inside the system? But if you use enable, then it means that anyone can log in inside, but unless you have to be authenticated. But if you choose local, then we are specifying the user that we created. And that user is no other than BFadmin1. Okay, guys? Yes. So I want you to choose local. Then you just click on it, or you can just enter. We don't want to use enable because we have already, so you have to choose what? Local. So among the rest, 1, 2, 3, 4, we just choose local out of them. When you bring the question tag, you can see that no local is part of them. So local is out. And you are not supposed to choose this one, neither this one. Though if you choose this one, it's good. Because let me show you something. If you right click on start and you go straight, click on computer management. When you click on computer management, find on your left side local users and group. If I want to create a groups, these are the groups of the local system groups. I can let's right click on group, the group, then create group. And let's name the group radius. Then the description. Only for radius users. Then the members, you can add the members to it. go to object type, uncheck these ones, and let's pick only users. Just go to advanced, click on find now. Then these are the users for the meantime I have on my machine. So you can click on this one, this, and this. If you click one like this and you keep on clicking to select, so you have to press the control key. Press the control key, then you can select the users, as many as you want. So after you have finished, just click OK. Then it means that these are the users under Radius. So when you come here and you check the group, then you have to specify the group name that you have so that the users under that group can have access to the Radius server. But I chose local. The local, it means that before a user can log in, you have to be authenticated. And that user alone is what? bfadmin1. So that is what I was just talking about and explaining as well. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Now let's see the line console also. So after you have finished typing the AAA authentication enable default group Radius local, then you have to also type line login. Line console, line console, which is 0. Then you set login authentication default. The question tag, nothing. So yeah, I said AAA. Warning authentication links default is not defined for what? Login. So we have it. If they said it's not defined for login, is that we haven't given the login authentication for the console. So who will log inside the console? You know that the console is one particular cable that users normally use for entering into any other routers. So if we have the console, we can either have a console or we can have what? A crossover cable, which you can click here and connect this one to the router by using using what we call SSH to log in. I think yesterday and throughout this week we did something about the SSH or so, which means if you are not using the console cable, you can either use what? Crossover cable to log into the router, and we did that. So if some of you don't know about this one, you have subsequent videos that I've already posted it. You can go around and just go and look for it, then you have a clear view of what I was explaining. Thank you very much. Let's continue our work. Okay, so what is showing us right now, we have line console. Bring the shift and the question tag, shift and the question tag, shift and the question tag, shift and the question tag. So for us to configure the line console, it said the line console has not been configured. So we have to configure the line console for it to work. Okay, for it to work. Okay, so type exit. And then let's minimize this. Sorry guys. I just minimize what I'm not supposed to. Type exit. You know, for this particular configuration to work as expected, at least we have to also create a banner. So let's go to the configuration mode. Then let's a banner, MOTD. MOTD stands for message of the day. M is for message, O is off, and the T is day, and the D is day. So message of the day. Then you can choose any other, because when you press on shift and the question tag, they say line. C banner for text C at the end and C into brackets quoted is delimiting characters. So if they said that delimiting characters, they are talking about what? Alphanumerics. That is symbols. Let me put it in this way, symbols. There are some words sometimes if you don't take care, if you are rushing and you are about to mention it, you end up what? Mentioning something that is not expected. Okay, so I will choose capital C, then I'll enter. Then I'll press Shift and F3 like this. I'll enter again, then F3. Then I will type only big firm authorization users are permitted. So you have something like this. So you do. Then you enter again. Then you create this one so that your banner at least have to be nice. Then when you enter, you bring the C before you enter, then because you have to start with C capital and end with C capital. Okay, so when you finish, just type end, then you type WR, then you type copy run startup config. So when I type exit, at least this one look nice. It looks nice. Can't you see? Only big firm authorization users are permitted. So the permitted itself, there is a mistake over there. You can see that I've written permitted, which is a mistake. It's supposed to be D. Okay, so permitted. It's not permitted. So type the password. You type the password. The EN. The username is BF admin1. I made a mistake. The username BF admin1 and the password. So we have EN.